Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am in receipt of your note 304 person indicating that you have reached a verdict.
After 5 long months of a kind of high society trial that riveted New York and much of the nation, today, finally, a verdict.
As to the defendant Anthony Marshall, how say you to the first count of the indictment, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
85-year-old Tony Marshall found guilty of grand larceny, fraud, and conspiracy against his Alzheimer's-stricken mother, Brooke Astor, for decades the reigning queen of New York high society. In fact, it's been a family drama straight out of a juicy novel, complete with a fabulously wealthy socialite, Astor, her A-list friends, including Henry Kissinger and Barbara Walters, her son Tony, who'd spent his life craving his mother's affection and approval, her rebellious grandson, Philip, and the daughter-in-law she held at a distance, Charlene. The story began back in the 50s when Brooke Astor inherited her famous name and fortune from her third husband, Vincent Astor.
He left her all this money for a foundation. And, you know, who is more popular than someone who's willing to give money to charity?
To Tony, her only child from a previous marriage, Brooke Astor was much different. Though he became a decorated war hero, a U.S. ambassador, father to twin boys, he was clearly living in his mother's shadow. Barbara Walters, a friend of Brooke Astor, says mother and son had little in common. Still, Tony was the dutiful son, escorting his mother to events and, at her request, managing her finances for years.
Guys, relax.
Charlene, Tony's third wife and the love of his life, would be cast as the villain in her husband's trial. The two met in Northeast Harbor, Maine, where Brooke Astor had a waterfront summer home. Tony, in a rocky marriage, and Charlene, wife of the church minister, fell for each other. While Brooke acknowledged that Charlene made her son happy, she never fully accepted her, which was apparent in her will. But if there was distance between Brooke and her son and daughter-in-law, there was a growing fondness in her later years toward Tony's sons, Alec and Philip.
They said many things today about your relationship with Mrs. Astor. Is there anything that you want people to know?
You guys get it up already? Gentlemen, we just...
What Philip hoped would be a private family disagreement became public after he filed a petition to have a legal guardian appointed for his grandmother.
We'll ask now that the clerk take the verdict, please.
He didn't realize it, but his actions would start a chain of events that could land his 85-year-old father in prison. They discovered, among other things, what appeared to be a forged signature on Astor's will. His son, Philip, remained at his New England home, coming to the trial only once to testify against his father.
Guilty.